YouTube, what could possibly make a tree so angry that it ventures out into the canyon lands and desert to attack something? Well, Durthu and his trees are indeed upset. Durthu has got several treekin and lots of dryads. The forest spirits are angered. And why are they angered? Well, the Skaven have wronged them, cut their forest down, used it for their infernal contraptions, and Durthu is angry and looking for revenge. So that's right, we've got a Wood Elves versus Skaven matchup. I haven't used Durthu in a long time, and I figured he would probably be a decent pick against the Skaven. With the Sword of Daith and the Lore of Beast for Doomflock, he can cause extensive damage to large amounts of infantry, while dealing armor-piercing damage and magical attacks. He isn't specifically anti-large, but he is a pretty tough customer. The Skaven do have some anti-large missiles and cannons. I was particularly worried about Warp Lightning cannons, and I'm also worried about Doom Wheels with this army. But let me show you the total army. I've got 4 units of Dryads. I've got 1 unit of War Dancers. I believe no, 2 units. Sorry, my bad. I'll show them in a minute. I've got 3 units of Treekin, 1 in the middle, 1 on either flank. So that gives me a little bit of sturdiness on either flank because we have kind of a glass cannon. The Dryads are a good unit in terms of attacking low armor infantry. They have some physical resistance, and they're decent damage dealers who are immune to psychology. I've got 2 units of Eternal Guard for a little bit of anti-large capability, and I have a Wild Rider on either flank. And immediately I saw some units that I really didn't want to see, which was a Doom Wheel. My opponent has a Doom Wheel on either flank. He may have expected me to show up with some archers. Doom Wheels, especially a couple of them, become a very frustrating thing to try and tie down when you're protecting archers. I didn't bring archers because I wanted to try a melee build. It had been a long time. My opponent also has 2 Gutter Runners out here. These guys have the little snare traps and stuff, which slow your units down, and you can see I already took a lot of damage, and I will continue to take damage. I'm immediately running from this other Doom Wheel. It's not something I want to engage without some reinforcements, and then of course I could not see that my opponent had Death Runners back behind me. For his main line, he's got a Rat Ogre Warlord, or a Rat Ogre Bonebreaker mount for his Warlord here. I believe that's what it's called. He has some Clan Rat spears with shields on one flank, Skaven Slave spears on the other, a couple of Storm Vermin with halberds, probably one of the better infantry options available to the Skaven. He has a Warlock Engineer over here. Doesn't have its Warpstone armor, which is a very strange choice, the Warlock Engineer, but it does have Warp Lightning, so not a bad call there. And then just some Clan Rats in the center. My opponent's army needs to deal its damage with the Doom Wheels, and hopefully make something out of these Death Runners, as they are a stock unit. He may have been hoping to get into the back of skirmish units and dish it out to him. So units I was particularly worried of, Hell Pit Abominations, because I don't really have a great answer for those, and Doom Wheels. Well, the Doom Wheels are here. I do have Anti-Large with the Eternal Guards, I have Mass with the Treekin, and I have Speed with the Wild Riders. So I'm going to have to combine and use a combined arms force there. So I'm going to separate my 2 flanking units of Treekin. I'll engage the Skaven infantry head-on because I have every advantage in this fight, and my opponent should be trying to avoid this fight rather than take it. He should definitely be backing off and trying to weaken my forces with his Doom Wheels and Gutter Runners, and having kept as much distance as he could. Immediately, Durthu's going to attack. Here comes the War Dancers attacking. Breath spell being used against me. Look at this. Not a big surprise. Skaven Slaves routing immediately. The Warlord is back here amidst his Clan Rats, but with 2 War Dancers, we'll be cutting through those Clan Rats in a big hurry. Again, here you can see I'm separating out my Treekin, and I've got Wild Riders and Eternal Guard support because my opponent's infantry doesn't have a prayer against the infantry that I've brought, and I want to push that advantage. Here you can see that he means to engage me with his Doom Wheel. I kind of feinted towards his Gutter Runners and acted like I was running away, but then I double back, and I'm going to use the Wild Rider Speed and Mass, as well as the Math of the Treekin, and we're going to pin this Doom Wheel, and it won't be able to get away. And I'm waiting to do the same on the other flank, while I've used the Sword of Daith and Doomflock to cause tremendous damage. I've also used the Curse of Onraer, which is going to slow down the Skaven units, take away their attack, and I'm just doing everything I can to weaken and destroy the Skaven center as quickly as possible. You see one Storm Vermin has already taken some pretty extensive damage in there as well. So I do have a Spell Singer Lore of Life as well that I forgot to... Or no, sorry. I was thinking of a different match. I do not have a Spell Singer. My bad. My bad. Different match that I played earlier today. So yeah, now I'm just going to use my Eternal Guard to kind of zone out his Gutter Runners. We have gotten rid of one Doom Wheel, and I started to chase it off the battlefield. And I was like, holy crap, a gutter runner? Where'd that come from? So I'm going to have to dodge it, and then I want to keep following the Doom Wheel off the battlefield. The other Doom Wheel came to attack, and I got it with a combination of Wild Riders and Treekin. The Treekin's mass helps pin down the Doom Wheel. You can see the infantry of Skaven just completely fallen apart, with the exception of a couple Storm Vermin over here. And you can see the Rat Ogre here kind of splitting off and going after different targets. Some of my successful units need to be recommitted. I was just out here busy microing after the Doom Wheel. I couldn't let the Doom Wheel come back, because it could potentially come back to haunt me. And it's the same thing here. I'm going to skirt around and chase it with the Wild Riders, and then intercept the Death Runners. The Death Runners won't like fighting treekin, I don't believe. The treekin should be a pretty decent unit against this low armor Death Runner. The Death Runner is armor piercing, which would help it. I just don't think it's going to be a great matchup for the Death Runner. You can see that this Doom Wheel is gone. The other Doom Wheel did come back, but I'm going to hit it quickly with my Wild Riders. Here comes another Doom Flock from Durthu. There's one last remaining infantry blob here. He's going to hit me with a breath spell, which does a little damage over here on my Dryads. But I'm able to rout the Storm Vermin, and the Death Runners shouldn't be far behind. Opponent's using his Warp Lightning, everything he can, try and even the fight, but the Skaven are scattered, and they just don't have the right units to take down what I've brought here. And in fact, a lot of Dryads and War Dancers, it's intentionally meant to be difficult for the Skaven to counter. It was picked intentionally. Durthu is a heavily armored target. Warp Lightning cannons would have been the best answer to him, but you know, my opponent didn't bring any. He focused on the Doom Wheels. I feel like if he would have sat back with some artillery, that's what would have really given this build some trouble. 2 or 3 Warp Lightning cannons, holy crap would I have been feeling it. Durthu would have gotten nuked, my treekin would have been getting nuked, and he might have been able to do the damage that he needed to by the time I could actually do anything about his Warp Lightning cannons. And just some cheap Skaven Slave Spears and other things could have held me off for quite a while he destroyed the leadership and key units in my army. But at this point you can see that my Wild Riders, free from having helped take out the Doom Wheels, can now help chase down his Gutter Runners who are out of ammo. They used a lot of it on my Eternal Guard, and I can now pin them down and then use my Dryads to help complete the destruction. My opponent does have regrouping units, and Durthu for the second time has knocked out the Warlock Engineer, whereas over here I'm just trying to pin down the Warlord. Treekin tend to be decently tanky in certain fights. That was one of the reasons I brought them. And they combine to help give you a little bit of backbone to an otherwise complete glass cannon in these type of melee builds. Now, melee builds with the Wood Elves are not going to work all the time. In fact, there's a lot of scenarios where you will get absolutely shut down. But they're fun to bring, and this was one of those scenarios where I felt fairly safe doing it. The poor Skaven. They're a faction that definitely needs some help. They do have some things that are good. I mean, Doom Wheels can be a decent weapon. They're expensive, but in the right scenario, they can be quite good. Warp Lightning cannons are also very effective for the Skaven, and I really expected my opponent to have some and to give me some problems with it. I figured that was going to be my biggest challenge here was, all right, how am I going to get to a Warp Lightning cannon? Yes, I have some Wild Riders. My hope was I could maybe punch through a line with the Treekin, punch through a Durthu, whatever it is I could do, but I knew that Durthu could potentially take a lot of long-range fire. Is another reason I brought the Curse of Onraer to try and lower accuracy. Of course, with a target like Durthu, I don't know that it would have helped a lot. But yeah, thank you, Armada, for the game. It was fun. Very brave of him to go around rocking those Skaven, so kudos to him. Skaven is not an easy faction to win with online, and it's cool to see people playing with them, even though hopefully they'll get some love this coming year or this year from CA. They certainly need it. It's very hard to put winning Skaven armies together. It's not impossible, and if you get a really skilled player, of course they can give you grief with it, but I mean, a skilled player can give you grief with just about any faction. So it is what it is, right? But anyway, it was fun. I haven't played against the Skaven in a while, so thank you to Armada. Appreciate him playing the game with me. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified. If you liked it, hit that like button. It helps this trend, helps other people find the community. And speaking of, if you didn't like it, please give me some feedback, what you want to see, what you think I could do better. It's always appreciated, especially when you give it to me in a constructive way. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you soon.